Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, thank you so much for coming. Quick question. Can you hear me? Just tell me in the chat. Just want to make sure we're all good. Can you hear me? Yes, 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 yes. Wonderful. That is so great. So cool. Great. Let me have a look in the chat. Morning, everybody. Morning, morning. Hello. This is so great. Could you just pop in the chat? I'm just curious to see where you guys are from and what languages you teach or you want to teach. Yeah, just tell me in the chat. I'd love to hear. Hello from Greece, Australia. Oh my gosh, Wales, not so far away. UK. Oh gosh, this is going so quick. French, Spanish, modern Greek. Oh my gosh, UK, Hungary. Wow, this is amazing. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to connect with you guys. Just a quick introduction. I am Anneli Beronius Hake, and I am an online Swedish teacher. I've been teaching online since 2007. And I started off with just one person. And since then, I've taught over 20,000 hours online, and I'm the founder of Swedish Made Easy, which is my teaching business. I'm also the author of Teach Yourself Complete Swedish, and also a new book that's just come out that's called The Language Teacher Rebel. Yeah, so before we start, I just wanted to mention quickly two things. If you have any questions during the talk, could you please put them in the Q&A somewhere down here? Just put them in the Q&A, don't put them in the chat because they kind of just disappear from the chat or I don't have the chance to see them. So put them in the Q&A and I'll do my very best to answer some of them after the talk. It's quite possible that I won't have time to answer all of your questions, perhaps, because we don't have that much time at the end. But I wanted to let you know that I'm hosting a Zoom session later today that I wanted to invite you guys to. It's at 3 p.m. UK time, so what, in about 4 hours time from now. And I'll be just hanging out there and just as a little bit of a post-talk chat mingle opportunity, and I can answer some more questions then. So if you want to come to that, that will be great. And I will give you the details on how to join this Zoom meetup at the end of the talk. But yeah, it'd be great to meet you there because like I can't see you at the moment. I can just see the chat. So it'd be great to catch up. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Let's begin the talk. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So, right, today I will be talking about how we as online language teachers can stand out. And this is not a talk about how to beat social media algorithms. It's not. It's not a talk about how you can sort of hack systems to lure thousands of people onto your email list. And it's not a talk about how to create ads. Instead, this is a talk where I will explain some strategies and tools that I've found useful for how you can build up a solid and authentic foundation in your language teaching business and attract people who are genuinely interested in you and what you have to offer. So, can you be successful as an online English teacher or an online Spanish or French or Italian teacher? Could you market yourself online in a way that attracts new students? Well, yes, of course you can. But here's the thing. Unless you teach a particularly rare language that very few people teach, the chances are that there will be other language teachers who teach the same language. In other words, you will have competitors. So this means that you've got to try and stand out. But simply just listing the number of hours you've taught, or just the fact that you might have a teaching degree, will, to be honest, look dull. So we're going to look at some tools and concepts that can help you to stand out more. So we're going to be looking at niches and micro-niches, what they are and how you can identify one. We're going to look at your why, and we're also going to look at your so-called culture ad. And when you use these tools, you will find it gets much easier to market yourself. Gets easier to create posts for social media and for your website, and build relationships and connect with potential students and also others that you might want to collaborate with. So no more word of the day on Instagram or other standard posts. They may get some likes, but they don't really help you to connect with your audience. And when you have no connection, well, then people won't be that interested in what you have to offer. So you do need a niche. And in fact, you might even need a micro niche. Now, you might wonder, what on earth is a micro niche? So let's take a step back and look at the idea of core markets and submarkets and niches. And you'll see why it can be difficult to position your language teaching business in anything other than a smaller niche. So core markets are big, broad areas like health, relationships, finance, education, for example. And these markets are so broad and so general that many sub-markets have developed within each core. So for example, in the health core market, you might have sub-markets like weight loss or strength training or fitness, nutrition, well-being, and so on. And in education, you might have sort of tutoring services or products. You have schools and unis, that's one thing. You have maybe vocational training or adult education, hobbies, that kind of thing. And for education, of course, language education is a relevant submarket. I mean, you could even argue, perhaps, that language education or languages now functions as its own core market, and that each language, French, Spanish, Swedish, whatever, English, is a submarket of that core market. Okay. And you might think that language education is enough, right? You're a French teacher, that's enough. That's what you do, okay? But building a sustainable online business in a submarket is difficult because there will be too much competition there. Okay. So next level down is a niche, which is a slightly narrower focus within a submarket. So for example, here, the example of French for a language teacher, a niche might be teaching French for business purposes, or helping students prep for exams, or focusing exclusively on children, or helping tourists to get by. Okay, so here's a good point to just ask yourself, in which niche do you fit? And if you teach a language that's relatively small, so for me, for example, I'm a Swedish teacher, and that's quite a small language, you might do quite well in a niche. But if you teach something that's a more widely spoken language, chances are that the niches are quite crowded with competition already. And this is where micro niches come in. So this is an even narrow focus. You're zooming down even more, where you can carve out a spot for yourself and become an expert. So, I mean, I just made these up, but just as an example to illustrate. So, for example, if the niche is business French, then or professional French, then perhaps a micro niche could be, French for healthcare professionals, for doctors and nurses, maybe, or helping clients to, have successful job interviews in French, or maybe something to do with negotiations and legal language, or helping people to develop their public speaking skills. And now we're really down into a micro niche. I mean, this is just an example. I'm just going to give you some other examples as well. So, for example, an example of a micro niche could be to learn to watch films and TV shows on Netflix without having to read the subtitles. Or you could maybe have like a movie club or a book club, or it could be very specific accent reduction services, or it could be, learn a language for introverts and nervous speakers, or maybe for people with learning differences like autism or ADHD or anything like that. It could be creative writing, could be loads of things, but you get the idea. It's kind of super, 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 super narrow, narrowing down. And that is what a micro niche is, because the competition in a core or a sub-market is just too tough. It might even be tough in a niche for some languages. So the bottom line is, it's much better to create either a new niche or a micro niche where the competition will be less. I also wanted to bust a myth while we're at it here, which is it's bad for business not to serve everyone. I don't agree. So many language teachers feel that you want to help as many students as possible. And when you're starting out, you just want to give people exactly what they want, and you want to be open to everyone. So isn't it bad for business to offer something that not everyone wants? Well, actually, no. I mean, apart from what I said earlier about if you're struggling in tight competition, it's stressful and exhausting. There are two other important reasons for why a narrower focus is a good idea. Firstly, if you have your unique spot in your area, then you can actually start to complement other teachers in that field. So it means that you can almost think of it as if, your competitors can instead become your potential partners, because you can complement them, what they do. You can collaborate with them. And this in turn will make it much easier for you to present yourself to a wider audience. So for example, you might be able to do a guest blog post, or joint webinars, or a joint live show or podcast with someone. So you can present yourself in a bigger, to a bigger audience and attract more students. And secondly, it's also easier when you're creating marketing material. So your stuff for your website, or if you're doing things for social media. So it will be clearer in terms of design, in terms of core message, and how to define what you offer. You'll be more visible, relevant, and you'll attract more students. Because, to be honest, think about how much there is that someone has to master when they're learning a language, right? So you got the 4 main skills. You got speaking, reading, listening, writing. You got lots and lots of different grammar points. You got different language levels. You've got pronunciation challenges. You got culture, different professions or groups of people with different needs. And if you try and cover everything, your business will become a bit diluted, and it can get a bit scattered, okay, and difficult to keep track of. So it's much, much better to drill down and become more of an expert in a specific area. And also remember that you don't need all the students in the whole world to make your business successful. Okay. Right, so we're going to talk about, I wanted to share with you some ideas for how to identify a microniche. And you can explore opportunities for microniches by searching out your submarket. Okay, you want to listen in and really pay attention. And your goal should be to identify what people's problems and difficulties are and see if you can design a solution. And it's, I mean, this might be totally obvious to you, but I'm going to say it anyway, because you're looking to establish yourself in a microniche, you're looking to create something new. That means that people online or in the real world, I guess, they won't be talking about that specific service because they don't know that it exists, because it doesn't exist yet. But the problems that they experience, they exist. And it's our job as language teachers to find out what they need. Okay. So here are some things that you can do, some good places to go to find out what people's problems are. Pain points. So one thing you can do is to join some social media groups in your submarket, and then you want to spend a fair amount of time sifting through questions and answers, and you will start to spot some of the big issues that people have and what they're looking for. You can also listen in on Clubhouse. Great opportunity to listen into what people discuss and their issues. So join some language learning rooms or clubs, listen in and see what they express. What are their issues? What do they want help with? You can also read blog posts. You can read blog posts from learners learning the language that you teach. And you can also read any comments below blog posts as well. Don't forget to read the comments, because that can sometimes give you really good ideas. You can watch YouTube videos. Same thing, same process as with blog posts. Pay close attention to what people say in the comments below. Okay. Another good thing, great, I've just did a quick Google search before this presentation, and here's just an example. So read book reviews, look at the reviews and comments and see if people express that they are missing something. This could also give you ideas. And then finally, you can look at other forums as well, such as Reddit or Quora, things like that. These are just some of the things that I found. So again, just listen in to see what people say. What are their pain points? What are their challenges? And that could give you ideas. So when you've done this, you will start to get a real good grasp of what the main problems are in your submarket. It will give you new ideas on microniches that you can develop. It might also be that perhaps someone else has created a microniche in another language, but maybe it hasn't been done in your language yet. So that's another opportunity as well. Okay. So you might think that you should just simply choose the most profitable area and this will be a guaranteed success. Okay. This is a mistake, because the most profitable area might not be the one that you're most passionate about. And here is an important thing to remember. Unless you're passionate about something, you will be overtaken by someone else who is. So you need to find your passion or your mission or your why. And this is something that you passionately believe in, which you will use as an underlying thread in everything you do. It should get you excited to get out of bed in the morning and be something that you can, kind of passionately talk about with your students or potential students or your friends, anyone. And when your mission becomes clear, it will be much easier again to create content and material for your online business. Okay, so conventional businesses, they often start with describing what they do, followed by how. It's a kind of conventional features type approach. What do they do and how do they do it? So for a language teacher, it might sound a bit like this. I've just made this up, by the way. This is not real, but it could sound something like this. I'm a French teacher. I offer affordable French lessons online, taught via Skype or Zoom or whatever, and by using bespoke learning material. Learn how to speak fluently with me. Book your first lesson today. Okay, so this is a typical what description followed by how. Okay, so now let's look at how a description that starts with why and then followed by how and what could sound. And again, I've just made this up. I believe in global communication across borders as a way to solve conflicts. By using online tools, I help politicians and executives and other professionals to negotiate and express themselves with clarity and integrity in French. I offer one-to-one sessions in advanced professional French online. Right, so which one of these do you think sound more interesting if you're an adult student, for example, looking to develop your professional French, even if you're not a politician or an executive? So let's pause here for a moment and ask yourself this. What do you stand for? What are your beliefs? Of course, wanting to learn a language does not necessarily have to involve someone's values and beliefs. Of course, you might, someone might just want to learn a bit of Spanish, and that's fine. But when a potential student's values and beliefs align with the ones that we're expressing as language teachers, they are much more likely to do business with us again and again. It becomes kind of more than just a transaction of money for knowledge. It becomes an expression of identity, what they believe in. It's a bit like when you buy something organic or eco-friendly, perhaps. Just as an example, you're much more likely to stay loyal to a brand or a service provider if they share what you believe in, even if someone else offers you a better price. So it makes us feel good when what we do is about something bigger than just ourselves. People don't buy what we do, they buy why we do it. So a why statement is something that's really useful to have, and it's something that I think you should explore. A why statement should look like this, a sentence. To something something, so that something something. The first part will be the contribution that you make to others, and the second part is the impact of your contribution. And this kind of statement needs to be timeless. It needs to run through both your personal and professional life. So you can't create a why statement like, to teach students online so I can work from home, okay? So just as an example, here's mine. To inspire communication and cultural exchange so that we can build bridges and increase empathy and understanding. It's not about creating an aspiration of what you want to become. Your why statement is something that's essential and unique to you. It's something that's always been there and will always be there. It's your core. So yes, people don't buy what we do, they buy why we do it. Next up, ask yourself this. who am I? Who am I? And don't panic now and develop a full-blown existential crisis. Bear with me. What is your story? What are the things that have shaped you over the years? What are some of the things that you love doing? It took me a long time, I have to admit, to before I was brave enough to start promoting myself as I actually am. But when I did, I was contacted by many students who said that they'd chosen me specifically because of my background. So I have a background in music, both kind of, I've been playing music for a long time, and I also have a degree in music psychology. So I'm really interested in the psychological aspects. I've studied a lot of psychology. I'm also interested in like dialects. I love dialects and regional accents because of the musical element in that. So pronunciation is also another thing that I love. But yeah, so I was then, but I kind of felt in the beginning that, oh, you know, it's not relevant to language. I did a music psychology, but that's, you know, this is something else. But no, this is me. This is what I like. And maybe some of the students that contacted me, maybe they too were interested in music or psychology or dialects, or they just liked, you know, the fact that my take on languages is bigger than just verb tables and grammar drills, although I do love that too. And not all of my students share these interests. I'm not saying that all of my clients are like music nerds, psychology nerds, or dialect nerds. But it's something that makes me a bit unique just because of who I am. And I can use that. So consider the following elements, and you can start to think about your culture ad, who you are. So consider your cultural advantage. Maybe you have unique insights into something. Consider your circumstances. What does your life look like? What has your life looked like? Consider your identity. Consider where you've been and why. Consider what you've achieved and how. Consider who you've helped along the way, and also who and what you've taken a stand for. So I feel like the problem that, or a problem that most of us have, is that usually we don't really see our unique abilities and what we're good at, right? We kind of take it for granted, or we're not even aware of it. It's something that's just instinctive to us, and maybe we even feel like, well, that's surely not something that other people will be willing to pay for. But the thing is this: you've been blessed with, you know, ideas, gifts, and talents, and through your unique background and your experiences, you've developed skills that you can use to help others. And other people really need your language teaching skills. They really do. And they're just waiting for you to find your voice so that you can start helping them. So it's really quite important to go through these processes, in my opinion, as it will give your whole teaching business a solid foundation. It will help you when you design social media content, website, any videos that you create, how you present yourself online, and so on. It will underpin your whole marketing strategy. And you will start to weave in these themes, your unique themes, and you will start to attract like-minded people. And some of them will become your students. Some of them will recommend you to others. And some of them might be people that you can collaborate with and develop new projects. So what you can now do when you've gone through this process is you can start to also create bigger statements about what you can do for your students or your clients. So you can try and fill in these blanks. I believe in, or my passion is, and then your why theme. I help, and then what type of person, type of student. 2, and then what they will learn. So they can, and then the benefits. So for example, here's mine. This is what mine look like. I believe in communication, cultural exchange, and building bridges. So that's my why theme. I help language teachers and wannabe language teachers to set up their own online language teaching business so they can share their language and culture across the world. When you create this for your business, it will become a core element of your pitch. And your pitch is also quite important. Now, you might think of a pitch as something that innovators or entrepreneurs use when they want to secure large-scale investments, like this is a Dragon's Den in the UK, but you know, these types of programs, I think it's called Shark Tank in the US. And you might feel the idea of having a pitch is like a bit commercial and corporate. But a persuasive pitch inspires people. It opens doors. Consider this. Most people that you interact with will have a network of over 250 people. And a great pitch can make people remember you, recommend you to others. And if you really inspire them, they might tell their friends about you. They might even post on social media about you, or they might offer to help. You're actually pitching every time someone asks you what you do for a living. But next time someone asks you, so what do you do? Don't reply, I'm a language teacher. Instead, start the sentence with your pitch structure. My passion is, or I believe in blah, blah, blah. I help to, so they can. Okay. A great pitch will also guide you, again, a bit the same as the culture ad and your why. It will guide you in your content and marketing material design. It will help you when you write copy for your website or blog posts, and it will just keep you on track. It will make sure that you're focused and clear in your communication with the world. So there are no miracle methods, really. There are no ultimate Instagram algorithm hacks. You can't spam your way to success. Instead, you need to build relationships with people, and you need to be clear on your why and who you are. And you also need to identify a niche or a micro niche where you can create services and maybe also products to solve genuine problems that people have. And that was me. Thank you very much. I've got a little thing. I've got a Find Your Why workbook. If you're interested in exploring your why a little bit more, I've got a resource on that you can download to help you start thinking about what your why themes might be. And also I mentioned about a Zoom social that I'll be having today at 3 p.m. UK time. So I've put all of that information on my website. It's annalieharkey.com/language show21. So you can head over there for Find Your Why workbook download if you're interested, or if you just want to come and hang out with me this afternoon, which will be super exciting. And I'd love to meet some of you, and we can have further chats about this or anything else to do with online language teaching and building a business. So I'm going to pop back. I hope you guys have seen. I can put the link in the chat also if anyone needs it. I'm going to come back to you guys now. Right, so, oh my goodness me. Okay, so we've got about just under 10 minutes. So I thought I'll just have a quick look in case you have any questions. Will this be recorded so we can have access later on as well? Yes, this is recorded, and yes, you will have access later on. You can rewatch it. If anyone wants the like the slides, I'm more than happy to share like the presentation if you want that. I mean, it's mainly just pictures, I guess, but I'm more than happy to share that. So yes. Let's see. Tack Anneli, jätteintressant. Oh, someone's writing in Swedish to me. Thank you, Annette. How great. Can you share what your microniche is? Yes, I can. Okay, so remember I said earlier that if you're in a small language, then you can do quite well in a niche. And because I started online teaching in 2007, I was like I wouldn't say I was a big fish. I was a fish in a very small pond. I was a fish in a puddle. Okay, so I did quite well because I was early and I kind of started teaching online early with a small language. But I would say that my microniche now, so I created a course a couple of years ago now, which is to do with pronunciation. So accent reduction and pronunciation in Swedish. And I've co-created this course with an opera singer. He's an opera singer and a vocal coach. He's Swedish too, but he knows nothing about the Swedish language. So that's an example of one of the microniches that I have, or that's an example of a microniche course. So it's quite unique because it's a collaboration between me as a Swedish teacher and him as an opera singer and a vocal coach. And we're focusing on like the muscles and the tongue position that you need to apply to sound more Swedish. So that's an example of a bit of a microniche. Okay, I'm just looking through some questions here. Okay, let me read this. Rosanna, good morning. Thank you so much. I'm very keen to explore possibilities of teaching adults, having had experience teaching for many years in secondary school. What would you recommend? Where would I start? Oh, that's a big question, Rosanna. I'd love to chat more about that. Do you have time to maybe like head over to Zoom, or you can just contact me? But yeah, where do you start exactly? I guess it will depend on you know, like what you want to teach. Have you identified who you're going to teach it to? Adults, you say, but like yeah, maybe thinking a little bit more about microniches there would be useful. And in terms of where to start, I mean, the only thing really that you need to start is well, you need Zoom or something like that, and then you need a way to accept payments. That's really the absolute bare minimum, and then you need to have someone to teach. I actually have in this, I mentioned the book earlier, the Language Teacher Rebel book. I have like a step-by-step kind of roadmap for what you might want to start with in terms of setting yourself up and what you can build as you go along. So that might be something that could be interesting to you. What online marketing platforms would you recommend? Online marketing platforms. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but do you mean like social media, perhaps? Which one is best to be on? So I mean, I think it's if you teach online, I think it's good to be on social media. It's great to be on social media to connect with people. So this goes back to the whole, you know, expressing your why and your culture ad, and you can make connections. It's a great way to have people discover you, and you can interact with them. I don't think you need to be on all social media platforms. That is not sustainable. I mean, I think it's just too much to say, yes, you need a podcast, and you need a YouTube channel, and you need a great Instagram account, and you need to be hosting things on Clubhouse, and da, 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 da. That's like, you're not going to have time. So what I usually say is like, start with one platform or two, and just learn how to do that well. I mean, I'm not on all platforms. I am on the main ones that I use. I use Facebook, I use Instagram. I have a YouTube for Swedish, but it's a little bit neglected because it's not something that I have time to do all the time, but sometimes I kind of go in and do a little bit of a creation sprint, you could call it. Okay, do you use a specific tool or application to teach online? I just use Zoom, and then I have my website, and then I have a booking system on my website, and that's connected to PayPal business, so I can take credit card payments. And then I kind of have social media presence, and then in the past I've blogged a bit. Blogging on your website can be good. If you do that well, then it can be good because it helps search engine optimization. So Google will direct people to you. Blogging is good for that. Okay, I feel like there was a question earlier that I skimmed over. Oh, Samantha, would you set up an online teacher network for CPD and resource sharing? So I am in the I hope I understood your question correctly. I am in the process of setting up a Language Teacher Rebel hub. It's not ready yet. I'm hoping to open it up next year, which will have, it's almost like an online library with video resources on all the techie stuff, all the techie and marketing stuff. So how to do certain things on Instagram or Facebook, or how to set up a payment system or a booking system and that kind of thing. So if that is what you meant, then yes, I'm in the process of setting that up. More information on my website if that's something that you might be interested in. Oh, how much? Oh, pricing. How much can an hour online lessons for GCSE? Oh, I might not be able to answer that just off the top of my head. I don't teach, I only teach adults, so I guess it's maybe not applicable, but I'm sure that you can find other people who are already doing that, and you can have a look at how much they charge. I guess it depends on kind of where you are as well. What's the best way to accept payment when you teach online? Yes, so the best way is to, I mean, if you have your own system, if you're not on a kind of tutoring platform, but if you have your own website set up, then something like a payment gateway. So PayPal Business, or Stripe is another popular one that people use. What is Clubhouse? Oh, yes, I'd love to talk more about Clubhouse. I won't have time to do that because I think I'm soon going to get kicked out here by Jonathan in a moment. But if you can make it to the Zoom session today, I'd love to chat more about Clubhouse. I think it's a brilliant new platform that's really, really good for connecting with people. I've had very positive experiences of hosting rooms and being in rooms on Clubhouse. Oh my goodness me, so many questions. I am so sorry. If I haven't answered your question, firstly, I'll apologize. But I am gonna have to wrap this up because I only have to 1:45. More than happy to chat with at the Zoom session today if you can. That would be lovely to see you there. I'll just pop the link quickly again for those of you who wanna come along. I'll pop that quickly in the chat right now. Here we go. Chat. No. 1 second. There we go. There's the link to my website where you can find out how to go to the Zoom meeting, and also if you want to get in touch with me and if you haven't had your question answered and if you can't make it to the Zoom thing, then please send me an email. Can you not see the link? Okay, so basically it's annalieharkey.com. Okay, I'll just quickly pop this up again. Here you go. It's annalieharkey.com/languageshow21. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, annalieharkey.com/languageshow21. And that's where I got the Zoom link. Okay. I hope that's helpful. Okay. Right. Thank you so much. I am super happy to see so many great questions. I can talk about this for hours, but I really will be kicked out in a moment. So I hope to see you guys in about 3 hours time on Zoom and we can chat more, or just get in touch with me on email or anywhere else. I'm on Instagram as well as Language Teacher Rebels. You can find me there. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Lovely to see so many of you here, and yeah, keep in touch. Thank you. Bye.